Name's Max Lombardi, and I've been an agent for 10 goddamn years. You wanna know what it's like? Let me tell you about it. The Lombardi Tales.
Welcome to your orientation. I'm Agent Max Lombardi. I'm your instructor on account that my leg is broken and someone in personnel hates me. Now, you're here because the possibility exists that you're not jackasses, and Mike could be useful in the containment of anomalous items when they're going to try to kill you. So, let's start with the basic mission. We are out to find out weird shit and bring it back, and then contain it. Your more scholarly colleagues are the ones who study it from behind bulletproof glass and bitch about how hard their job is. They're receiving a similar briefing in room 67. They got donuts and coffee in there, just in case you was hoping there might be a modicum of justice in this cold, uncaring bitch of a universe. Anyway, some of yous are gonna be retrieval like me, whilst others are gonna be containment. You might even switch it around sometimes. Retrieval is generally preceded by investigation by Intel, who also have coffee and donuts, in case you were wondering how far the budget stretches, will go forth, find leads, gather facts, and then tell you sweet fuck all. On receipt of this dearth of information, you will go out to exotic locales where you will be forbidden from stopping and having a drink or conversing with the locals when they're trying to kill you. You will go to where Intel tells you the whatever the fuck is. An agent much higher on the food chain that you will go and talk to people for the purpose of figuring out what's going on. Do not envy this agent. Shit goes wrong, he's in the worst place possible. Anyway, once it gives the go-ahead, the rest of the team comes in, takes out the skip as quiet as possible. Skip, by the way, is what we call anomalous entities. I'm sure I don't need to tell you where it comes from. Now, sometimes skips don't want to come along as quiet as we would like. I mean, sure, maybe it's a nice inanimate object that don't hurt no one. Or some guy who don't even want to go around free if he's hurting someone. Most of the time, it's something easy, but sometimes it's something that really don't want to come along quiet-like, and it has the means to enforce its wishes. So, you apply stronger coercion. Ideally, Intel will have figured out what the skip can take, and you proceed directly to enough firepower to knock it loopy. Ideally, we would have donuts and coffee, since we usually go in knowing jack shit. You'll start off with your bare hands and work up from there. Now, at a certain point, it looks like you're gonna have to choose between catching the skip and coming home on your own 2 feet. Who here is willing to die rather than give up the mission? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. You 5 fail. Counter to what some dingbats will tell you, the latter is actually the preferred option. Capturing skips is the name of the game, but finding agents who actually do the fucking job is hard, and you can always catch more skips later on. Your best option is to run the fuck away. That way, they can always send someone else in to grab the fucker. If you can't, and it comes down to a life or limb situation, that's when you pull out your gun and you shoot the fucker. If that don't work, you shoot it again. Because 99 times out of 100, shooting will work if you do enough of it. This don't mean you gotta leave to shoot everything that moves, cause Agent Lombardi told you so. You do it when you gotta. We aim to bring these things in whole and intact. But if that ain't gonna happen, the Foundation will settle for studying what's left. So, them's the basics of retrieval. The rest of you are going to be involved in containment. Now, containment is in some ways easier. You know where the skip is, and hopefully, you got some idea what the damn thing does and how to stop it. However, there are some complications. First off, the skip might be watching you too, depending on how smart it is. That means it's got a better idea of what we can do. It gets out, it's going to know what the uniforms mean. Who's likely to be armed. It's also going to be pissed. Ideally, it's more pissed at the guys in white coats sticking needles into it, but it might remember it was you and your buddies who rolled up and brought it in there. Also, unless you're a single skip site, if it gets loose, it it might let the other shit out too. And suddenly, you're dealing with 5 or 6 skips instead of just one. Now, they might just start fighting amongst themselves. But you're going to have to go into the middle of it all and break them up. And they ain't just going to play alone. Also, remember how I said most of the time retrieval is going after something harmless? Yeah, you don't get that luxury. Sure, some of the skips you're guarding are safe, but some of them will rip off your head and scoop out your brains. And you're around them every fucking day. This is especially true if you're at one of those single skip sites I mentioned. Because they don't put them kind of resources to work to watch the fucking vending machine. So, that's life as an agent for you. Questions? You, with the glasses and the turtleneck. How weird? Well, I once saw a guy have his bones turned into jelly. Grape jelly. Yeah, they did tests. They all came back grape. That weird enough? Guy with the buzz cut. Shoot. Who decides what we go after? Generally, it'll be the site director in charge of retrieval. Ultimately, it goes to the O5 Council, but they're really more into general strategy than day-to-day operations. Okay, you, with the messed up piercing. I don't know where this shit comes from. It's Intel's job to figure that shit out. Please refer back to my previous statements on Intel. Red shirt, 3rd row. Health benefits. They're great if you come back alive. We got the best doctors on the planet. If it's possible to get you back on your feet again, they'll do it. Yes, you in the back with the duck. The upside to the job? Well, for one thing, we get paid pretty good. For another, if we don't do the job, the world will probably end. That ain't a joke. Seriously, someone has to do this job. You want to live to see tomorrow? Good choice. Okay, Toby, what's your question? How do you get in one of the groups with the coffee and donuts? You go fuck yourself. That's how. Okay, skinny twerp with a goatee. Clef? Clef, he's a researcher slash agent slash I don't know what the fuck, seriously. Most of the stories you hear about him are bullshit. The rest are also bullshit, but maybe based on something that kinda happened once if you squint. In any case, you ain't Clef, so don't get any ideas. When you've been around a while, then you can start thinking about emulating him. Except you'll be too smart to. Okay, the dame by the door. The monkey? Oh, that's Dr. Bright. He's harmless. That being said, you got a taser. He has genitalia. You do the math. So that concludes my briefing. Since you've been so good, I arranged to get punch and cookies. It ain't as good as coffee and donuts, but hey. Ours ain't full of laxatives.